All right. Welcome, everybody. We're going to get started. We are really happy to have you all here with us today for this webinar to discuss the call for participants, which is now open for the global gathering of pastoralist women to be held between the 26th and 29th of May at the International Center for Integrated Mountain Development in Kathmandu, Nepal. So this is an important event to celebrate not only the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists, but also the Year of the Woman Farmer. And so it offers a really unique moment to bring pastoralist women together from across the world. So my name is Brittany Bunce, and it's my great pleasure to be moderating today's session. I'm a member of the Working Group on Pastoralism and Gender for the Global Alliance for Rangelands and Pastoralists, as well as a researcher at the Institute of Environmental Science and Technology at the Autonomous University of Barcelona. So just before we begin, a few housekeeping notes so everything runs smoothly. We do have live interpretation services, and you can see the message that has been shared in our chat with the instructions, but we have translation for English, French, and Spanish today. For desktop users, you will see an interpretation globe icon that you can click. And for mobile users, that will be 3 dots in your Zoom menu where you can choose your preferred language channel. And then just to please note that today's session is being recorded. The agenda with our speakers is displayed on your screen, and we are truly grateful to have several pastoralist women and their organizations from across the globe who will speak about the importance of this gathering and also the many months of work and dedication that they've put in to the program committee, which is developing the agenda for this meeting. And just to note that we also have 15 minutes at the end for any questions and reflections. And I ask you just to please type your questions in the chat at any time. And where possible, direct this to a speaker. And we kindly ask if you could just keep the questions brief so we can get to as many people as possible. And we just forewarn that we have tried our best to stick to time, but we do have a lot of rich discussions to get through. So we do apologize if we happen to go over time, and we just assure you that there will be a recording sent at the end for everybody who's registered. So with that, let's open, and I'm very honored to have Alona Gerasimova here with us today to open our meeting and welcome you all. She's an active member of our Pastoralism and Gender Working Group. She is also a member of the International Center for Reindeer Husbandry in Norway. And since 2014, she's been involved in several Arctic Council projects on reindeer herding youth and Arctic food culture. Alona, over to you.
Thank you, Brittany. Good day, everyone, and very warm welcome to you all. It is truly an honor to open this webinar and to welcome pastoralist women, partners, and colleagues joining us from many different parts of the world. My name is Alona, and I am indigenous Evenki. I originally come from Siberia, from Evenki reindeer herding people. There are 24 different indigenous nations that herd reindeer in the Arctic and subarctic. Reindeer unites us. Reindeer herding for us is not only a livelihood, it's a way of life. It connects culture, knowledge, land, and communities across generations. Alongside my own pastoralist background, I also work with the World Reindeer Herders Organization and the International Center for Reindeer Husbandry based in Norway. And I have also been a part of the planning process for this global gathering of pastoralist women. As many of you know, the United Nations declared 2026 the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists. That recognition is important. Rangelands and pastures cover a huge part of our planet, and pastoralist peoples have cared for these lands for thousands of years. Pastoralism supports food systems, biodiversity, and climate resilience across very different environments, from Arctic tundra and taiga to drylands, mountains, and savannas. But this international year is not only about recognition, it's also about visibility and voice. Too often that pastoralists, and especially pastoralist women, are missing from decision-making spaces, even though their knowledge and experience are central for the future of Rangelands. This is why the global gathering of pastoralist women matters so much. Across pastoralist societies, women play a central role as knowledge holders, herd managers, educators, and leaders. In reindeer herding communities, women have always been key to maintaining culture, passing knowledge from one generation to another, and helping communities adapt to change, even when this work is not always formally acknowledged. And at the same time, pastoralist women face multiple challenges and pressures, from climate change and land use conflicts to social and political marginalization. Their voices are often the least heard, despite being among the most important. This gathering is about creating space for those voices. It is about pastoralist women speaking for themselves across regions and systems, sharing experience, challenges, and visions for the future. From the Arctic, we see climate change happening faster than almost anywhere else. Conditions are changing quickly, and adaptation is our daily reality. But one lesson we have learned is that resilience comes from collective knowledge and from strengthening the role of women, who often hold communities together in times of change. I invite all of us today to listen openly and learn from one another. Very grateful for you all for being here, and I wish us all a fruitful webinar. Ayamamat Bikalu, Olugitu, thank you.
Thank you very much, Alona, for that wonderful and powerful introduction. We're going to move to our next session now, and we will hear why a global gathering of pastoralist women is so important and what we aim to achieve by bringing together pastoralist women from very diverse regions, cultures, and pastoral systems. So I would like to warmly welcome Jude Essa Demois. She's a young ambassador of pastoralism. She's responsible for facilitating women's leadership spaces and initiatives related to the mosaic of women pastoralists within RBM, which is the network of livestock and pastoralist organizations of Africa. Bienvenue, Jode. Second. You can undo.
Bonjour à toutes les femmes connectées à ce webinaire et aussi aux hommes qui ont bien voulu être avec nous ce soir. Et comme j'ai été présentée, je ne vais pas revenir encore là-dessus. Juste dire que j'interviens en tant qu'un membre de l'équipe technique de coordination régionale du RBM. Et je voudrais m'adresser de vive voix à l'ensemble des femmes qui sont là et qui se battent jour et nuit pour que le pastoralisme se porte bien et que le pastoralisme puisse profiter les femmes. Et chères femmes pastorales et agropastorales, je voudrais dire que le Rassemblement mondial des femmes pastorales n'est pas un événement ordinaire. C'est un moment de vérité, c'est un moment d'histoire. Comme vous le savez, trop souvent, quand on parle du pastoralisme, on voit les troupeaux, on voit les conflits, on voit les marchés, mais nous, les femmes, nous sommes souvent oubliées. Et pourtant, nous le savons, nous sommes au cœur de tout dans le pastoralisme. Nous nourrissons, nous soignons, nous protégeons, nous transmettons. Donc, ce Rassemblement mondial des femmes pastorales est vital parce qu'il va rendre visibles nos réalités et nos défis, mais surtout nos solutions également. Donc, c'est un événement qui va transformer nos voix individuelles en une force collective. On sait qu'une seule femme peut témoigner, mais on a besoin d'être un grand nombre de femmes, un grand groupe de femmes pour que nous puissions changer des règles. Et je veux le dire haut et fort ce soir, que le pastoralisme n'a pas d'avenir sans nous les femmes. La paix n'a pas non plus de racines sans nous les femmes. Encore mieux, la résilience climatique tant recherchée ne pourra être possible sans nous les femmes. Donc, le Rassemblement mondial des femmes pastorales prévue pour cette année est une mission pour chacun de nous. C'est une mission pour que nous puissions affirmer notre dignité en tant que femme pastorale, affirmer notre leadership et notre place incontournable dans l'avenir du pastoralisme. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup, Jode. And I love that when you say we need to be a big group of women to be able to change the rules. So true. And I would like to now give a very warm welcome as well to Maria Guadalupe Molina Sierra. She is from the Pastoralist Women's Network Mujeres Ganaderas de Mexico and is president of the board of its directors in Sonora. Bienvenida, María.
Hola, buenos días. Buenos días a todos los que nos acompañan y las personas que es la primera vez que ven este webinar. Como dice Brittany, mi nombre es María Guadalupe Molina, vivo en México, soy la séptima generación de una familia ganadera. Pues formo parte de MUGAM, esta red de apoyo donde trabajamos para fortalecer y visibilizar a la mujer ganadera en México. Global Gathering of Pastoralist Women es importante porque crea un espacio propio para las mujeres pastoras y ganaderas donde nuestras voces son escuchadas y reconocidas. Este encuentro nos permite visibilizar el papel de la mujer en la producción de alimentos, el cuidado del campo y la sustentabilidad de las comunidades rurales. Además, fortalece el intercambio de experiencias entre mujeres de distintas regiones del mundo, impulsa el liderazgo femenino y promueve soluciones construidas desde nuestra realidad. Participar en este espacio significa avanzar hacia una mayor inclusión, reconocimiento y toma de decisiones para las mujeres pastoras y ganaderas a nivel global. Gracias.
Gracias, Maria. I will now like to welcome Srijana Joshi. Srijana is leading our coordination efforts from ICIMOD's side, our host organization for this global gathering. She's an ecosystem specialist at ICIMOD and a member of both the Global Gathering Planning and Program Committees. Over to you, Srijana.
Thank you. Thank you, Brittany. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Okay, good morning and good evening, everyone. I'm Srijana and I worked at ICIMOD, and I'm pleased to share with you all the update on the event that we are planning, the Global Gathering of Pastoralist Women, which ICIMOD will host from 26 to 29 May in Kathmandu, Nepal. So why this gathering that really matters to us? So women, they are the vital stewards of rangeland. They carry generation of traditional ecological knowledge and sustaining pastoral livelihoods. They are also the vital primary users and managers of this ecosystem. So despite their central roles in gender barriers, including unequal access to land, resources, mobility, and decision-making spaces, it continue to limit women's opportunities, visibility, and influence. Pastoralist women, they remain excluded from policy dialogues and governance processes and directly affect their lives and livelihoods. So this gathering, global gathering, really matters because it will create a platform to recognize, amplify, and integrate pastoralist women's knowledge, leaderships, and priorities into rangeland governance, development, practice, and policy processes at multiple scales. So the desired outcome of this gatherings is very clear. First, this gathering is about building global alliances, strengthening connections among women leaders, practitioners, and advocates across the region to form a powerful network of grounded in shared purpose and solidarity. Second, it provides a critical opportunity to advance Mera 16 plus 16, updating the declaration to ensure truly inclusive representation that reflects the voices, priorities, and women's rights who stewards and depends on rangelands. Third, we also aim to shape a strong advocacy strategy that places women's perspective at the center of major global processes, including meaningful engagement at COP meetings and other international platforms as well, so that policies can better reflect on the ground realities. So this gathering is also about empowerment, inspiring pastoralist women to lead, influence changes, and also confidently bring forward their knowledge, experience, and also the vision. So why ICIMOD is uniquely positioned to host this global gathering? As you all know, ICIMOD is an intergovernmental organization governed and serving the 8 countries of Hindu Kush Himalayan region, and also it is recognized as regional center for mountain development. And ICIMOD has a strong regional mandate and long-standing recognition. So within the last decades, we have experience working in rangeland management and gender-related issues, and also ICIMOD, it has a very strong convening role in international and local dialogues, and also Hindu Kush Himalayan region, it represents rich cultural heritage of mountain pastoralism. So within ICIMOD, we have a rangeland program, which is one of the key intervention areas where we work directly with the communities and partners to generate this tangible and lasting impact on the ground. So, and rangeland is one of the major ecosystems in the Hindu Kush Himalayan region, covering about 60% of the areas, and it is very essential for livelihoods and well-being, supporting an estimate of about 25 to 30 million pastoralists and agro-pastoralists to depend on this important ecosystem on rangeland. And also pastoralism is one of the invisible asset which is often overlooked, but it is one of the invisible asset playing a vital role in sustaining livelihoods, food systems, and culture identity. Pastoralists, they include nomadic herders, transhumant communities, and also agro-pastoralists, and women play a very crucial role across all these pastoral systems. And rangeland and pastoral socio-ecological system, it serve as a hotspots of both cultural and biological diversity. And you can just imagine like about 32 ethnic groups are involved in yak herding in this region, reflecting the region's extraordinary cultural richnesses. So ICIMOD brings more than 3 decades of experience working on rangeland and pastoral communities, and we are deeply committed and very happy to host this global gathering. But as a next steps, we want to build the global movement together with one in which pastoralist women, they stand united, amplify their collective voice, and actively shape the policies that affect their lives and livelihoods. And we also want to strengthen the effort. We will deepen our strategic partnership with key organizations like FAO, ILRI, IUCN, and also leveraging their expertise to advance advocacy and promote sustainable development across rangelands. We have a dedicated planning committee and program committee that will really guide the preparation process, aligning with the Mera plus 16 declaration with strong outreach and engagement strategies. We have involved 30 pastoralist women that are involved in designing the programs, and we want to ensure that this gathering is shaped by women's voices and from the very beginning. So please join us in Kathmandu this May to support us, to support the vital stewards of this rangelands, and to get more information about this global gathering. You can also visit ICIMOD webpage where you can get all the details, and also Maria will provide you the insight during her presentation about how to apply for this nomination for the pastoralist women. You'll get more details in her presentations. And thank you all. And if you have any questions, please do send a message in the chat box. We'll be very happy to address them during this meeting. Yeah. Thank you so much. And over to you, Brittany.
Thank you very much, Shridhana, and to all of our speakers for setting the scene and outlining the importance and potential impact of bringing women together globally to share learning, create solidarity for change, influence policy, and build these critical networks of solidarity. So in our next session, our speakers are going to provide more of an overview of what to expect at the global gathering, including its structure, some key dates and practical information, and how this preliminary agenda is being developed, which is an activity, as Srijana mentioned, being led by pastoralist women. So first, a very warm welcome to Ainhoa Lopez. She is a member of the Women's Pastoralist Network in Spain, Ganaderas en Red. She's also an extensive livestock farmer and a very active member of this program committee for the global gathering. Ainhoa, bienvenida.
Muchas gracias, Britney. Bueno, hola. Sorry, I'm going to put. Okay. Hola, compañera, es un placer compartir este espacio con vosotras. Sorry, but I have the interpretation. I don't know how to quit. Okay, I'm ready. Because I'm listening to voices, so it was something rare. Well, hola compañera, es un placer compartir este espacio con vosotras. La asistencia, la colaboración, la participación en esta organización de este encuentro internacional en Nepal ha sido muy relevante para Ganaderas en Red, porque como mujeres ganaderas hemos podido reflejar las demandas, las necesidades y las propuestas desde el punto de vista de las protagonistas de este encuentro, que somos las mujeres ganaderas. La verdad que hemos echado en falta un poco la implicación de más ganaderas de otros países, ya que la pluralidad de miradas es una oportunidad para que este encuentro trate todos los temas posibles que necesitemos y que demandemos las mujeres de todo el mundo. Poder construir juntas este espacio supone un empoderamiento de las mujeres ganaderas que han tomado parte en el mismo y que tomarán parte en un futuro. Supone romper las barreras de un idioma, que es un claro bloqueo para este tipo de encuentros. Supone romper para las ganaderas una barrera del cuidado familiar, del cuidado del ganado. Así que nuestra asistencia, la asistencia de las ganaderas de todo el mundo, es más que fundamental para que esto tenga éxito y se consolide como lo que es, un encuentro hecho por y para ganaderas, mujeres y pastoras de todo el mundo. Hemos de decir que desde Ganaderas en Red, que para las ganaderas creemos que es mucho más difícil que el resto de las mujeres que quizás han participado en la construcción de este espacio, como dejar el ganado, la familia, superar el bloqueo de la barrera del idioma, un largo etcétera, y que por ello apelamos a la necesidad de que este viaje sea becado y tenga un coste cero para las ganaderas participantes. Sabemos que se está trabajando en ello y lo agradecemos muchísimo. Entonces, en este encuentro internacional vamos a encontrar un espacio de confianza, de solidaridad, de reflexión y de horizontes colectivos a los que encaminar nuestros pasos, tal y como dice nuestro lema de Ganaderas en Red, solas invisibles, juntas invencibles. Entonces, en este encuentro internacional en Nepal, podremos ver cuáles son nuestras demandas, cuáles son nuestras necesidades. Hablaremos con voz propia, con voz de mujeres ganaderas. Pondremos en común todas las características de cada región y cómo llevar estas necesidades, estas demandas a las mesas de debate, a las mesas donde se toman las decisiones en cada territorio, en cada país. Crearemos un futuro juntas, entre todas. Entonces creemos que necesitamos que nuestra voz, la voz de las mujeres ganaderas del mundo, sea escuchada. Muchas gracias por vuestra atención.
Muchas gracias, Ainhoa. And I think networks like Ganaderas en Red and many other networks here with us today and the human societal policy impact that you've had really demonstrates the importance of building networks and the potential of that at a global level. So thank you. I'm now going to invite Nitya Gotke. She is the co-chair of the IYRP Working Group on Pastoralism and Gender. She's also the director of ANTHRA, an organization that works very closely with pastoralists and farming communities in India. Over to you, Nitya. Thank you.
unmute. Yeah. Thank you, Brittany, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody here. It's 2026, and it's both the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralism as well as the International Year of the Woman Farmer. So as far as women pastoralists are concerned, the spotlight is on them right now, and it's a very important year. I'm Nitya Ghotke. I'm a veterinarian by training, and I am the co-chair of the Gender and Working Group of Pastoralism and Gender Working Group, which is one of the many groups of the Global Alliance for Rangelands and Pastoralists. This group was set up working group was set up about 3 years ago, and at that point, this the idea of global gathering wasn't even born. But I'm happy to see that we are only the countdown has begun. We're only a few months away from it. So just to give you a little background, Srijana before me mentioned a lot about something called Mera plus 16. So I'd like to those of you who may not know, I'd like to share a little bit about Mera 2010, which was the first global gathering of women pastoralists, and it was also called the Global Action for Local Survival. Mera is a small village in India in the state of Gujarat. And in November 2010, about 100 women got together to come up with, you can see some of the women who participated in the first meeting. And the goal was to help empower women pastoralists to participate in decision-making, governments and other local, national, regional and international fora. They talked about what they had lived, what they'd experienced, and how they would like to take things ahead. At the end of the week, which was quite eventful, the women came up with something called the Mera Declaration, which is available on this. I've given the connection here. I can also share it in the chat later, which articulated the combined vision. Somewhere in one of our meetings, the women, one of the members of our working group said, why not have a Mera? Why not go back to the declaration, see what's happened? And then they said, why not actually, soon after that it became, why not actually have a global gathering of women pastoralists? And we looked at whether we could have it in Mera again in 2025 to make it Mera plus 15, but that was not to be. So it's going to be Mera plus 16, and Kathmandu, ICIMOD very kindly agreed to host it. So let's go to Kathmandu 2026. The global gathering will celebrate pastoralist women, their contributions to pastoralism and their knowledge, skills and cultures. Pastoralist women will have an opportunity to share their experiences, challenges, innovations, successes and solutions, and to make global connections that endure beyond the event, increasing global solidarity, mutual support, and a sense of worth. Participants will collaborate in revising and developing a shared policy agenda for the future, and there will be many people with them to help them through the process. So we're looking at May 26 to 29 in Kathmandu. More about the gathering is available on the website. I'm sharing just a screenshot of the website. So there's about the gathering, how to participate, how to support, and a brief agenda, which has been very carefully curated by a program committee, which composes mainly of pastoralist women themselves. So a little bit about the agenda for some of you who might be participating and going to apply. We're looking at opening a plenary where there will be participation from several organizations. Then afterwards, there's community building and plenary presentations by women's group. There are several groups which are a part of our working group, which has over 85 members now. We look at the Mera Declaration again and look at the key themes. And then in the evening, we're looking at cultural events. Again, there would be thematic breakaway groups, workshops, knowledge exchange programs. And then some of the women are coming up with an idea of having a tapestry which weaves together the several different themes from from across the world, something that's there, which brings in a little bit of every culture into the combined tapestry. Then we have small discussion groups on the third day. Perhaps there would even be a field visit. I think that was also planned. And there would be films on pastoralist women. There would be a culture bazaar, cultural exchanges, and then we're looking at the last day of having a public presentation of draft and declaration and gathering outcomes, which will then be presented to, of course, people in Kathmandu and to the group, as well as it's hope that the Mera plus 15 or 16 declaration, as it now will be called, will be taken forth to Mongolia, where the next COP of the UNCCD will take place. So this is just a little early first draft of what's being planned, but I'm sure it'll be a very, very enjoyable event, something that is definitely worth looking forward to, and I hope many of you present here will participate in the event. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nitya and Ainhoa, for that. We're going to move on now to our next session, and we're going to turn to the call for participants, including eligibility criteria, nomination pathways, application requirements, and available support. So I'm very pleased to welcome Maria Fernandez Jimenez. She is also co-chair of the IYRP Working Group on Pastoralism and Gender, and a research scholar in rangeland ecology at Colorado State University. Thank you. Over to you, Maria.
All right. Welcome, everybody. And now I've seen a number of questions in the chat about how to apply. So now we are going to get to that question. And perhaps Brittany or somebody could put in the chat the actual link to the website so people can follow along with that.
Yes, I've just done that. If people would like to have a look at the chat.
And then I'm having trouble advancing my slides. Let's see if I can get it to go. I might have to get out and get back in. Let's see. I don't know why. Well, oh, now it's going. I'll try sharing again and see if that works. All right.
We can see it.
Who can apply? So this is a gathering for women who identify as pastoralists, livestock herders, or ranchers that manage livestock full or part-time and are directly involved in the daily care of animals and land, processing livestock products, marketing, and so forth. Sometimes they'll have additional jobs outside of that, but it's really for working pastoralists. And I'm still having trouble advancing my slides. I might need to, I'm not sure why. Hang on a second. Go here. One moment. I have to start over.
If it's still a challenge, I can try to download and share. I'll just need a moment.
It's a very large file, so I'm just going to reopen it and try again. It might not be the presenter view. It might just be the, or it might not be the slideshow view. It might be a different view. Let's see. So I will continue to talk here a little bit as this file opens. And you can look at the website that's been shared. Okay, let me try again here. All right, are you seeing it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to just leave it.
it.
I will leave it on this instead of doing the fancy view. I'll just leave it here, and I should be able to advance. Okay.
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
So we are being as inclusive as possible. Pastoralists from any country are welcome. Transhumant, nomad, semi-extensive, indigenous and traditional pastoralist, elders, youth, people with disabilities, and both experienced leaders and emerging young leaders. There are various ways to be nominated. You might be nominated by a Pastoralist Women's Network or organization. They might choose you to represent them. Organizations that support pastoralists and pastoralist women. There are a number of regional gatherings that have taken place and will take place around the world of women pastoralists, and they may select potential participants. And pastoralist women may nominate themselves. So if you are interested in participating, but you don't belong to a network or organization, you are still welcome to apply. But it's very important to look at the call for participants or have someone read it to you if you need that. And that is available on the website. So there are some criteria that will be used to select the participants. We're looking for people who have pastoralist experience, that lived experience of raising livestock, that have legitimacy in their community to represent that community and be the voice for your community. And most especially the potential to contribute to the gathering, to contribute your knowledge and skills, your experiences, your innovations and solutions. We'll also consider the potential benefits from the gathering to you and your community. And it's important that you commit to share whatever you learn, take it home and share it with your community. It could be helpful to have experience with Indigenous movements or activism, but that's not required. So it's also, from a practical standpoint, important that you be able to travel to Kathmandu. In other words, you must have or be able to get a passport and any necessary travel documents like a visa. Visas to Nepal are straightforward for most countries. The gathering will have several main languages, so it's helpful if you can speak English, Spanish, French, Nepali, Hindi, or Arabic. The final languages for the simultaneous translation will be decided based on where people apply from and their primary languages. Or if you don't speak one of these languages, you can bring an interpreter. But most important, be open to learning from and sharing with people from other cultures and across different languages. So how to apply? I think the website has been put in the chat now. I have it also here. There are four parts to the application, and it's very important to try to complete all these parts. The first one is just basic information, your name, your location, and importantly, your contact information. We have to be able to reach you via, ideally via email or potentially via mobile phone. Second is we ask you to write about 1,000 words, or you can speak in a video and talk about how you meet those criteria. What is your pastoralist experience? Why do you want to attend? What can you contribute? How will your participation benefit you and your community? So that's really important. That's probably the most important part, in addition to your contact information, to make sure that you complete. Can either be written, and there's a number of languages that you can use, or you can upload a video. If possible, we ask you to upload a letter of support from a community leader or organization that helps address that criteria of that you're recognized as being someone who can speak for your community. We understand not everybody may be able to get that, but if you can, that's helpful. And finally, we ask for a statement of your funding needs. So I'm just going to, oops, this did not, let's see if I can, I had some animations here. Let's see if I can make it work. Okay, so if you go to the website, it will look like this, and you press this button, how to participate. It will take you here, and then at the bottom there's the button to apply. And then once you're in the application, you can select from 7 languages which language to complete the application in. And then here's the example in Spanish, basic information, and then this personal statement. And as I said, that's really the most critical part, to be sure that you complete either in writing or with a video. And then after that, the letter and the funding statement. So the selection process is we have a selection committee that's made up at least half of pastoralists representing all the major different regions, and they'll make the selections based on the criteria that I mentioned before, but also trying to get good geographic distribution around the world. We want to make sure that pastoralist women from every major pastoralist region are present and contribute to the discussion. So the cost and sponsorship. This is and I know I mentioned this is a big consideration. Currently, the cost per person is about US $1,400. And that covers the costs within Nepal, all the lodging, food, transportation, and all the costs for ICIMOD to put on the meeting, including simultaneous translation, facilitation, and so forth. We're in the process of fundraising. If we raise enough money, that cost will go down, and we will let people know that by March when it's time to register. But right now, that's the basic cost. And that does not include your travel to Kathmandu. So that will vary depending on where you're coming from. The cost, for example, from where I am is much more than the cost from India or from Mongolia. So what sponsorship is available? We have been reaching out, and there are a number of organizations that have already agreed to sponsor pastoralists from certain regions, especially from Asia and South Asia. We're still looking for more sponsorship for other regions. If you belong to an organization that could sponsor a pastoralist, please get in touch with us. We hope that we will raise enough funds that we can lower the cost for everybody and then have a basket of funds that potential participants can apply for to help cover the registration cost and the travel cost. So some key dates. The applications are due February 15th, so that's in less than 2 weeks. We will let people know of their acceptance on March 8th, and then we ask people to register and for the sponsors to make that payment by March 22nd, and then for people to have their travel organized by April 17th. And they should plan to arrive by May 24th, or at the very latest, the 25th. And then the gathering, as Niti described, will take place the 26th through 29th with departure on the 30th, unless people plan to stay at their own expense for longer. So please, everybody, if you're interested, apply. Please don't let things like the letter of support or the cost be a barrier at this stage. We would like everybody who wants to come, who feels that you have something to contribute and something to learn and something to bring back to your community, to apply. And we will continue to look for support to ensure that as many deserving people as possible are able to participate. Thank you. And here's our contact information as well. Okay, Brittany, back to you.
Thank you very much, Maria. And if you do have any questions about this, please do pop it into the chat and we'll make time to answer as many as possible. And also do reach out to us at a later stage if you have any questions or doubts about the application process. So now we are going to move on to our final panel before we get into the Q&A session. And we're going to ask our speakers to reflect on the importance of coming together as pastoralist women. What are their hopes for this global gathering and how they believe it could strengthen pastoralist women's networks worldwide from the perspective of being very much embedded in pastoralist networks and in pastoral communities. So could I just check if Bhavana Rabari is with us? Or maybe she was not able to join? Okay, so we're going to move on to our next speaker, and I would like to invite Sudata Abu Bakrin. Is she with us? Marianne, did you manage to write to her? I think she
did,
might
and
not have.
she responded that she would be joining, so I don't know.
Okay.
I'm scanning the participants.
It's also sometimes meeting across time zones is very challenging, as are connection issues. But we do have videos that we can also share after this meeting, where women also sent in their statements through video clips.
Yeah.
So I think in the yes.
Maria is online. She says to unmute. Yeah.
Sorry.
Maria is online and she says to unmute her.
Is Sudata online?
Maria, I think.
Maria, I'll do her. So, where is she?
Just hang on, Maria.
You miss.
Okay, so done.
Sorry, is this Maria Fernandez Jimenez? There's many Marias with us.
Yeah, there's a lot of Maria.
I think maybe Maria Guadalupe.
Hi, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. Our next speaker, we're going to move to Fozia Noor. She's the director of the Organization for Pastoral Peace and Development in Kenya. She's also the founder of the Somali Pastoralist Women's Network, and she's currently very active in organizing an upcoming African Women's Gathering in March in Uganda. Welcome, Fozia. Over to you.
Thank you, Brittany. Good evening, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us from different parts of the world. And also thank you for creating this space to reflect on why a global gathering of pastoralist women is not only timely, but necessary. I'll move to my first point. Pastoralist women live at the intersection of climate change, food system, peace, and community resilience. Yet globally, our voices remain among the least heard in policy spaces that directly affect our lives. A global gathering matters because it creates a collective platform where pastoralist women can come together across regions to share knowledge, challenge narratives, and shape conversations about pastoralism from our own realities. This is not just about coming together. For me and other pastoralist women, it's about who designs the space and whose knowledge is valued. A platform designed by pastoralist women for pastoralist women allows us to speak honestly, build solidarity, and strengthen our collective voices. When pastoralist women organize globally, we are better positioned to influence policies, engage institutions, and advocate for systems that recognize our contributions and protect our rights. A global gathering is also critical for system change. Pastoralists are often discussed as if we're outside modern system, when in fact we are central to sustainable land use, climate adaptation, and biodiversity protection. However, systems change may not mean forcing pastoralists to abandon their way of life. The gathering creates space to ask a vital question. How do we strengthen pastoralist system without erasing pastoralist identities, traditions, and livelihoods? Pastoralist women carry intergenerational knowledge that is essential to sustaining this system for the future. My final point will be global gathering is an open learning space. It enables pastoralist women to learn from one another across borders, sharing solutions, leadership experience, and practical strategies grounded in real context. This kind of peer learning builds confidence, leadership, and collective power, ensuring that pastoralist women are not only participants in conversations about the future, but leaders shaping it. Thank you so much, Brittany, and I look forward to the gathering in Kathmandu.
Thank you very much, Fozia. I'm also going to invite some reflections from our speakers from previous sessions who've already been introduced.
Brittany, sorry to interrupt you. I think Saudata is here. She joined on another link with my name. So
all right.
That's why it said to unmute Maria.
Okay, I hear you. All right. Srijana or Tashi, as you are co-host, could you unmute them, please? Thank you.
I did that. So there are 3 names with Maria, so I did it for everyone, yeah.
Okay. Sudata? C'est à ton tour. Sudata?
Yeah, now it's working.
It's working.
Oui.
Okay, great.
Oui,
Fantastic.
je vais essayer la caméra aussi.
Okay, so Sudata she's the founder of Tinhinan Association in Burkina Faso, an organization that promotes the rights of indigenous peoples, particularly pastoralist women. Bienvenue, Sudata.
Oui, merci, mais nous vous gardons une surprise. Il faut nous ouvrir la caméra. Merci. Bien positionné. Je sais pas. Il est écrit, you cannot start your video because it's disabled by the host. Ah ouais, tu n'as pas fait. En gros. Fais les grandes écritures.
I think if it's okay, we could continue without the video. Important is to hear your message.
Ok, merci quand même de voir si vous arrivez à régler la vidéo parce on a vraiment créé un très bon environnement de femmes pastorales qui est vraiment intéressant à voir. Donc, mais je vais commencer à parler en attendant. Merci. D'accord. Donc, vous avez la traduction? Est-ce que vous avez la traduction?
Oui. Oui.
Ok.
Oui, merci.
Donc, pour nous, je suis ici avec d'autres sœurs de femmes pastorales. Et donc, pour nous, cette rencontre mondiale favorise l'éveil des femmes et filles pastorales à tous les niveaux. Et cela permet de rappeler au monde entier que ces groupes de femmes et filles sont aussi des personnes humaines, même si elles sont invisibles. Même si elles sont invisibles, elles continuent d'exister tant bien que mal. Dans des situations qui les dépassent, les affectent en termes d'accès aux moyens, par exemple, de subsistance les plus élémentaires, en termes de violences faites aux femmes, telles que les violences physiques, morales, et en termes d'impact climatique, on a grandi. En termes d'impact climatique, de sécurité, d'insécurité dans certains cas. Voilà, comme je vous ai dit, je suis avec nos sœurs dans cet environnement et nous en profitons également pour partager avec vous cet environnement sous notre tente pastorale en vous servant du thé par Zoom, bien sûr, mais en espérant vous retrouver très bientôt dans cet environnement de façon réelle à la grande conférence globale des femmes à Kathmandu. Donc, je vais continuer par dire que ces femmes et filles ont aussi des plus-values. Elles continuent de jouer des rôles spécifiques et des positions uniques à elles, femmes pastorales. Cette conférence permettra de booster effectivement leur participation. Elles sont les mieux placées pour parler de ce qu'elles veulent elles-mêmes, ce qu'elles veulent faire savoir dans les différents espaces et profiter de cette année internationale sur le pastoralisme, mais aussi d'autres espaces comme la Commission contre la discrimination de la femme, UNCCD, UNFCC et bien d'autres espaces auxquels elles sont manquantes, elles sont les plus absentes. La première conférence de Mera de 2016 à laquelle j'ai eu l'honneur de participer a été une des premières opportunités, sinon l'unique, qui nous a permis, nous, femmes et filles pastorales, d'exprimer notre volonté d'échanger entre nous, de faire une déclaration. La plupart de nos cultures nous infantilisent à plusieurs niveaux. Les femmes et filles qui ont fait le voyage d'Afrique à l'Inde, par exemple, ont prouvé qu'elles sont en mesure de lever la voix dans ces espaces en garantissant une représentativité dynamique et efficace qui a donné confiance et courage à d'autres sœurs et qui ont fondé des organisations par la suite et des réseaux. Il est certain que Tinhinan que nous sommes aujourd'hui et Femmes pastorales du Sahel en mouvement en a profité pour se consolider, s'élargir et devenir plus opérationnel. Il a été dit dans tous les cadres que j'ai cités plus haut pour gagner du temps qu'il ne faut marginaliser aucun groupe. Il faut cela pour honorer les slogans. Il faut cette conférence globale mondiale pour honorer cela en première position. Je vous remercie. Nuhul kamatin hulen ataina ataina kamatire.
Thank you so much, Sudha.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. And apologies for the technical issues. And I'm so happy we were able to get your video working because that was a really beautiful scene. Thank you for the tea and thank you for your powerful statement. We're going to move on also, please. Could we hear some reflections from Jodé et moi? À votre tour. Jodé? Merci.
Une fois encore, merci et merci pour les différentes interventions très intéressantes. Vous savez, le RBM, comme je l'avais dit, c'est une organisation, c'est un réseau des organisations d'éleveurs et de pasteurs d'Afrique qui interviennent dans une dizaine de pays, Afrique de l'Ouest et du Centre. Et donc, pour plonger dans la réalité des femmes pastorales et agro-pastorales, et pour pouvoir mieux les impliquer, pour pouvoir mieux les écouter, pour pouvoir mieux prendre en compte, nous avons réalisé une recherche-action entre 2022 et 2023, ce que nous appelons la mosaïque des femmes pasteurs. Et donc, toute mon intervention de tout à l'heure toutes les expériences à partir desquelles je voudrais passer ce message se basent sur les résultats de cette mosaïque-là. C'est-à-dire qu'au RBM, nous avons appris, notamment à travers cette mosaïque des femmes pasteurs, que en fait, les femmes éleveuses ne sont pas un groupe vulnérable à protéger, mais ce sont des moteurs de cohésion sociale, de transmission des savoirs et de résilience communautaire. Ces femmes tiennent debout même quand tout vacille. Elles innovent, elles orientent déjà l'avenir de leur famille et de leur communauté. Donc, se réunir entre femmes pasteurs, c'est briser le silence et créer un espace où nous pouvons parler, être écoutés et reconnus. C'est aussi une manière de transformer cette reconnaissance en force publique, sans confrontation, mais en stimulant la confiance et la solidarité à grande échelle. Nos espoirs pour ce rassemblement mondial des femmes pasteurs sont vraiment clairs. Dans un premier temps, c'est de renforcer nos capacités en leadership, plaidoyer, accès aux droits et résilience climatique. C'est aussi d'influencer les politiques pour que nos réalités en tant que femmes soient enfin prises en compte. Pour finir, c'est pour construire des alliances entre femmes de différents pays et continents afin que nos expériences locales deviennent une force mondiale. Donc, le Rassemblement mondial des femmes pasteurs peut transformer nos réseaux en une véritable toile de solidarité internationale. Quand une femme du Sahel parle, une femme côtière, donc en Afrique, comprend, et quand une femme d'Asie témoigne, une femme du Maghreb se reconnaît. Ensemble, nous devenons une voix incontournable, capable de peser sur les décisions et de bâtir un avenir plus juste pour nos filles et nos communautés. La mosaïque des femmes pasteurs nous l'a montré. Nous ne sommes pas seulement des femmes qui survivent, nous sommes des femmes qui bâtissent, qui transforment et qui portent la paix. Ce rassemblement est notre place, notre force et notre mission. Alors, je voudrais inviter à toutes les femmes qui sont connectées à ce webinaire à s'inscrire massivement. Non seulement s'inscrire, mais à aussi passer le message pour que le plus grand nombre de femmes, même celles qui sont dans les contrées les plus injoyables, puissent se passer leur message, puissent se passer leur candidature, afin qu'à ce rassemblement mondial, nos voix portent et que notre avenir, l'avenir de nos enfants, de nos futures filles, puisse vraiment prendre un envol plus radieux. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup, Jode. I'm going to invite also Ainoa Lopez. Ainoa, if you would like to say a few words. ¿Se estás lista?
Yes.
Gracias.
Sorry, wait a moment. Okay. Oh, I'm excited meeting all these pastoralist women here. While I know I'm an extensive pastoralist with goats and Iberian pigs in the south of Spain, and I'm talking for Ganaderas en Red. We are a group of 200 women, extensive livestock farmers in Spain who came together 10 years ago with the priceless support of Entre Tanto Foundation. And we defend the extensive livestock farming and, of course, the visibility of the women in the rural pastoral world in an area mostly ruled by men. So we are a network of mutual support where solidarity, empathy, and transversality fly above religious, political, and socio-cultural differences. And we also believe that the food sovereignty of each territory has been sustained by women for millennia. And we believe it is vital to recognize our work and all of those who have preceded us. And that is why we also defend, at the same and before my mates, the representation of women in the negotiating table where decisions are made regarding livestock and the rural environment. From her, creating a worldwide network is vital, is very important, because we share, we support each other, and that's why we call for spaces for mutual support, knowledge transfer, and the creation of alternative of production and living options in rural areas, providing by the woman more resilient, creative, and caring responses. So our desire to work together overcomes the barrier of language and turns into an opportunity to learn from other women farmers. And we have been doing at her as we have been doing at her, and we will continue doing. So we like to think this meeting as a place where we can learn from each other experiences and care each other as equals. So love you too much, mates, and I hope to see you all at the meeting. I say before, like say our motto, along invisibles, together invincibles. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I know that's so beautiful. I'm going to give the last word in this panel to Maria Guadalupe Molina Siller. Thank you very much.
Gracias a ti, Brittany. Pues desde nuestra experiencia como MUGAM, Asociación MUGAM en México, que tenemos representación en 25 estados y ya somos más de 5,000 mujeres en México en esta asociación. ¿Por qué es importante reunirse con mujeres ganaderas? Las mujeres desempeñamos un papel fundamental como guardianas de la naturaleza, cuidamos de la tierra y de los animales, al mismo tiempo que producimos alimento, sostenemos a nuestras familias y también apoyamos a nuestras comunidades. También transmitimos a nuestros hijos valores, buenas prácticas, conocimientos y tradiciones, asegurando así el relevo generacional. Sin embargo, compartimos desafíos comunes, como el cambio climático, la degradación de la tierra, la desertificación, que muchas veces enfrentamos de manera aislada. Reunirnos y fortalecer nuestras redes nos permite compartir conocimientos, apoyarnos mutuamente y unir nuestras voces para incidir en las decisiones que afectan nuestros campos y nuestros medios de vida. ¿Cuáles son mis expectativas para el encuentro global? Pues mi principal expectativa es que cada vez más mujeres participen, que sus voces sean escuchadas y que puedan involucrarse activamente en la toma de decisiones. Cuando las mujeres, pastoras y ganaderas participan en estos espacios, se generan cambios positivos que mejoran su calidad de vida y la de sus familias, también las de sus comunidades. ¿Cómo puede Global Gathering of Pastoralist Women fortalecer las redes de mujeres pastoras y ganaderas en el mundo? Global Gathering of Pastoralist Women es un espacio estratégico para el intercambio de buenas prácticas, el aprendizaje mutuo y la construcción de acciones colectivas. Al conectar experiencias locales con una visión global, fortalece las redes de mujeres y contribuye a sistemas pastoriles y ganaderos más sostenibles, resilientes e inclusivos, basados en el uso responsable de los recursos naturales y en la adaptación al cambio climático, aportando directamente a los objetivos de la Organización de las Naciones Unidas para la Alimentación y la Agricultura, especialmente en seguridad alimentaria, gestión sostenible de la tierra y lucha contra la desertificación. Agradezco profundamente la iniciativa de reunir a las mujeres y de formar parte de esta red de apoyo, que nos permite sumar esfuerzos. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Maria. And thank you to everybody for these powerful reflections and also to the countless hours of dedication that each of these women have given and continue to give in ensuring this gathering is truly by and for pastoralist women. So I think summing up, these speakers have emphasized the importance of global solidarity for gender justice, the motto of Together We Are Invincible, as I know I said. So that's also a deep value of community support, of amplifying women's leadership, especially in male-dominated agrarian spaces, and of course, women's invaluable contributions to food sovereignty, climate resilience, knowledge and cultural transmission, and so much more. We're going to move over to question and answer session. If you haven't already, please pop your questions in the chat. I've been trying to gather them, apart from also we've received a lot of wonderful affirmations of support, so thank you also for that. I see there was a question about what content should be included in the application video. Maria Fernandez Jimenez, if you would like to quickly note on this.
Yes. So pay attention to the criteria. And that's what you should speak to. What is your experience as a pastoralist? What are the potential ways you can contribute to the gathering? Your knowledge, skills, experiences, innovations, solutions. How would attending the gathering benefit you and your community, and your commitment to share your learning with your community? So try to read or have someone read to you the call for participants, and try to make sure your video or written statement addresses those criteria in a specific way. Don't just repeat back what the call for participants says, but talk about your particular situation and what you personally have to contribute.
Thank you so much. And I think also just to clarify that the video is also a way to make it more accessible. So it's a way to not have to submit a written statement if it's more comfortable and easier to do so through a video. So we don't need a written statement and a video, one or the other. If you have any other questions about that, please do reach out. Another question I saw from somebody was, can the women who work in the pastoral projects participate? And I think here you're referring to if you are a researcher, activist, involved in a civil society organization. Just to quickly note that as there was also a selection committee for pastoralist women, there will be a similar process also for support people who will provide facilitation, documentation, and reporting. And that this really is a gathering for pastoralist women. So we want to keep at least 90 places for pastoralist women, and we imagine having about 10 support people. And obviously, those people would be selected according to criteria, what expertise is needed at the meeting to make it as inclusive as possible. If I haven't answered that question, if any of my colleagues would like to add to it, or we can move on. I'm just trying to see if there's any other questions. I think a lot of the others was positive affirmations, and we thank you for that. There was a question about whether a WhatsApp or Facebook group would be included as a way to stay connected. We can definitely look into that. As Nitya mentioned, if anybody would like to join the Gender and Pastoralism Working Group, please do write out to Maria and Nitya as the co-chairs. A lot of this effort is coming from the joint efforts and passions of volunteers helping to pull this together. So we always welcome more people. And I think those are the questions, unless I've missed any in French, for example, if colleagues could help me to read those out. Okay. Does anyone, Maria, Nitya, do you see any other questions? Rajana?
No, I'll just say, lots of people are interested in creating a WhatsApp group, and one of the goals, one of the outcomes from the gathering is to create a global network. And so it's wonderful that we're already seeing that there's really this interest in doing that. So we'll have to figure out if we can capture all your information here and use that to begin.
Well, thank you so much. And I think we have run quite over time. So I would just ask if people could please write their questions into the chat. And I'm also going to pop some contact details, and you could email us.
Claire had her hand raised to ask a question. Claire, can you put it in the...
Sorry, Claire.
Ah, vous m'entendez? Vous m'entendez? Ok. Je voulais juste savoir si tout ce qui a été partagé comme support, est-ce que la liste de mails, vous l'avez et vous pouvez nous la partager? Tous les supports que vous nous avez partagés en images, est-ce qu'on peut les avoir aussi par mail? Avec le programme du Népal, tout ça?
Maria, could I ask you to respond, or one of our colleagues
Yes, well,
who are fluent in French? Thank you.
I just put all the email contact information in the chat, and this webinar is recorded, and the recording of the webinar will be available. The link to the recording, I believe, will be sent out to all the participants. So you'll have access to that information.
All right. Thank you so much to everybody, and thank you for your support and your interest. I think we're going to move to the closing remarks, and it's my great pleasure to invite Shiba Satyal Baskota. She is a gender equality and social inclusion lead at ICIMOD, the host organization. She has over 20 years of experience in gender and development, including her prior work with UNICEF, WHO, and Plan International. Thank you very much, Shiba. Over to you.
Thank you, Brittany. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you well. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. It has been an absolute pleasure to join this session and to hear from such inspiring women pastoralists, women leaders, network leaders, experts from all around the world. As I mentioned earlier, I'm Shiba. I work as Jessie Lead in ICIMOD. And as I highlighted by my colleague Srijana earlier, ICIMOD is a very different organization. It's an intergovernmental organization. We are working in 8 countries in the Hindu Kush Himalaya region. So we work across science, policy, and practice. And Hindu Kush Himalaya region, just to give you a little bit of background, is often called the third pole. And it's critical for the well-being of 2 billion people, sustaining agriculture, energy, and drinking water for those who depend on it. And it also is a home to 4 global biodiversity hotspots and has more than 1,000+ languages. So reflecting, centuries of indigenous knowledge. However, this region is facing a triple planetary crisis. We call it triple planetary crisis, which includes climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. And it's warming at a rate twice the global average. And the glaciers and rivers are melting, and climate-induced disasters like flood, landslides, and drought are creating cascading impacts across the borders. And against this backdrop, the role of women pastoralists is critical, as already highlighted by previous speakers. And they are on the front line of managing food, fuel, water in the rangeland, and they do many more. However, climate change directly affects these resources, demanding their time, energy, and resources, limiting the ability to pursue other activities and also, preserve the culture, heritage, right? However, they are not just vulnerable, they are the assets. They hold local knowledge, understand environmental changes, manage natural resources, and they have been working collectively for centuries, to overcome these challenges. And I'd also like to stress that, as women, we all share commonalities, and that is our strength. We need to focus on common issues that affect all women as well. And what, the women pastoralists, and we all need, is a voice and recognition. And when we engage, meaningfully, when we tap into knowledge, we focus on transferring this knowledge, through intergenerational exchanges, and create an enabling policy environment, we become even more powerful agent of change. So I encourage all the participants, to actively engage with the upcoming global gathering of partial women. Together, we can amplify voices, strengthen network, build solidarity, share experience, and learn from each other about climate adaptation and climate action. And finally, my heartfelt thanks to the organizers, speakers, participants for making today's session very inspiring and forward-looking, very powerful. So by combining knowledge and collective action, we can create a more sustainable future for all. Looking forward to this and to welcome you all here in Kathmandu. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shiva, for those wonderful closing remarks. And a huge thanks to all our speakers and to the participants today for joining us. This webinar and also the gathering that it supports is only possible because of this global solidarity, the care, the collective effort that so many of you are bringing to this work. And we look forward to staying in touch and receiving many applications as well as offers of support. It's still an important aspect for us to bring this into fruition and to bring this global gathering to life. So thank you so much to everybody.